How's everybody doing today? I certainly hope you're doing well. Wow, this is going to be one of them kind of chatty dudes that got to use your brain. God forbid. Got to use your memory. Got to pick and choose all the little bitty topics that are about the major topic. And hell, I had a question for those who, young and old, the people that are actually awake to all the ongoings that happen day to day between your local, state, national. Oh, God, it's so inundating. If you could have done it all over again, and you had that choice to stay asleep or to be where you're at today, where you are awake, and you know exactly what's going on, and you're not blind, would you choose to go back to sleep? Wow, man. Wow. Now, I don't know if everybody's aware of this or not, but supposedly that fella by the name of Mr. Reich, the New York resident, that contacted, of course, the coroner's office in Connecticut and contacted Mr. Carver. Well, let's see, he was extradited from New York to Connecticut, where he's going to stand trial. First misdemeanor, how outrageous! How dare you ask questions? Oh my God. Anyway, so apparently the venue has been changed yet again. Wow. This is absolutely fascinating. He had one misdemeanor charge, and then suddenly he's got 3 now, or maybe it's even 4. It is my opinion that the Connecticut system is trying to break the man psychologically, to make him give up, plead guilty, so he can get his fine, sign his non-disclosure agreement, and do what little time that is associated with these 3 or 4 misdemeanors. But, knowing Mr. Reich, he'll probably stick it out and make the state of Connecticut prove that it was harassment by providing recordings in association with affidavits that were signed by officials to make sure they match up and all. You know. Because if they don't, well, wouldn't that be perjury? Yes, it would. Sure would. It sure would. But hey, if it was deemed that an official willfully committed perjury, do you really believe that the establishment is going to take action? Oh, hell no. No, it doesn't work like that. You should know it by now. Hell, you got Comey up there, and you have a senator that is reading a question to the FBI director, and Comey is reading his response, which proves absolute, oh my God. This is crazy. This proves collusion between a corrupt Congress and a corrupt judicial system. One reading the questions under some sort of congressional inquiry, and the other reading the answers. How ridiculous, man. Really? Unreal. You got some guy out of Canada, this Aryan Empire, fellas. Oh, every document of the state is right. They know exactly what's going on. Look, this. Really? Really? Even though the state can't even get a date of birth correct in association with the primary name of the individual that supposedly did what the establishment said they did. Right? Is that what you're telling me? Hogwash nonsense. Didn't the SSDI state that Adam was no longer with us on the 13th, the day before? Under the SSDI, in parentheses, proven. Oh, but we're not supposed to believe that. That was another mistake, was it not? Then we have yet another guy, Mr. Wade. Apparently, he's of some higher human status and gets all this information even before the press, behind the scenes from police stations, informations from attorneys. So he spends $23,000 to shield his identity so that way his name is not on public record when it comes some sort of legal tournament down there with Mr. Howbig. Did I get that right? What's even more fascinating is you got Mr. Wade parading around 5 death certificates, in which 2 of them he says he can't show because he doesn't have the parents' permission. What? Then why do you have them in your hand in the first place, sir? Just curious. And the 2 that you showed, one of Nancy and one of that fairy tale Adam. You know what I noticed on the exact document in which you presented to the public? I was just curious if you explained to everybody out there, how is it that Nancy and Adam were cremated in Haverhill, Massachusetts, when neither one of them are anywhere close to there? They're not from there. Nancy is from New Hampshire. Did you get that okay? Yeah. In which Nancy and your little fictitious, pretentious person, Adam, resided in Newtown. Did I get that right? So why is it that both of those people were cremated 169 miles away in Haverhill, Massachusetts, when there were 15 crematories in their immediate area? Because the system is corrupt. That's why. That's why. It's so fascinating. The officials, the higher humans, the people in costumes and badges, and guys in robes will sit there and tell you all day, oh, no. None of you people out here are able to obtain certain documentation, but you guys got some guy on YouTube that gets 5 death certificates. 5. And is parading them around the internet. Wow, dude. Wow. And you want the public to believe you're garbage? Ah, what a joke. Mr. Wade, Mr. Aryan Empire. Let me ask you a question. Did you want to explain to everybody about the Wyatt situation? Huh? About how the officials and the press is parading around the supposed student that perished when that student was alive and well in Louisiana. I'm just curious if you explain that to everybody And then when that parent stood up and said, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, she's alive and well. When the press and the authorities finally removed their head from their... Exactly. They swapped out the photograph to somebody else. What about that, buddy boys? Why haven't you talked about that? Another mistake by the authorities. The higher humans got it wrong. Yeah, that's pretty major, buddy. That's pretty major. So now you got to change a venue for misdemeanors. You got a guy that has served so much time and he hasn't even been found guilty yet. Wow. You know what's really fascinating here, ladies and gentlemen? When you do an audit on all the individuals involved at the highest levels that you can imagine, the governor of New York. Oh, who is he? I want to see if people can figure it out. The governor of New York. Who is he? The person that did such a horrible thing. How dare you ask questions from the establishment? Mr. Reich. Who is he? The governor of Connecticut. Who is he? What do all three of these individuals have in common? Your jaw would drop. Because all three of these parties have something very much in common. All three of them. And it's fascinating. Can you imagine what that would be? Jewish trifecta. Do you think that's coincidence? Do you think that is a coincidence? I don't know. I don't know that it's a coincidence. But what I do know is that it is my absolute and utter opinion that the reason why the state, the higher humans, are coming down so harshly on Mr. Reich is because, excuse me, you should not be questioning the establishment, especially if you're Jewish. Shame on you, buddy. And because you are, oh boy, you are really going to pay for it. And we're going to make an example out of you. So all the other little lower humans step in line. Yeah. And anybody that speaks out about not only this incident, but other incidences that have happened throughout the United States or the world, well, if they just are a little bit too pushy with their questionnaire from the higher humans, we're going to punish you. We're going to inconvenience you. We're going to make you spend tons of money. But other little higher humans, higher human victims, oh, these guys can just not show up to court. I don't have to show up to court. No. Does the state put out a warrant for their arrest for not showing up to court? Oh, no. Well, why not? Why not? Because in this country, this is a two-tiered judicial system. That's why. Oh, we couldn't issue a warrant for the poor little victim over here. Oh, no, we can't. That would be inappropriate. But if you're on the other side that can see through all this garbage, Put a warrant out for his arrest right now. Oh, yeah, he didn't show up to court. Yep, that's a big deal. Wow, fascinating. Fascinating. The entire system is a joke. From Comey all the way down. The Department of Justice, all the hierarchy, they're making deals. They're making deals. So many little deals with everybody. If you get an attorney to represent you, do you really think he's representing you? Even though you're paying him tens of thousands of dollars to represent you, do you think he's really representing you? No! He works for the same damn system that is going to fine you or incarcerate you. And if he doesn't play by their little rules at all times, then he's going to be punished. He might break a toenail. He might get in a car accident. Lightning might strike him. Plane might fall out of the sky. He might get in a plane crash and he's not even on it. Oh yeah, because that's how that works, buddy. You can't be stepping on the toes of the same system you work for. Are you kidding? This is why whistleblowers are punished like, oh, you just wouldn't even believe it. Whistleblowers are punished to the ends of the earth on all sides. Nobody respects them. Nobody. The only people that respect a whistleblower is those that are directly involved with whatever they're blowing the whistle on. But everybody else, oh man. You can be some hotshot and commit felony after felony after felony after felony. But if you're part of the club, well, look the other way. You know. It's a joke. All of it's a joke. It's a joke. You see, the higher human, they laugh at you, buddy. Constantly. They laugh. God, they're laughing so hard. They are laughing so hard at the lower human. They sure are. They got you pleading and begging for mercy. Oh, have mercy on me, Lord. Oh, have mercy on me, please. Knowing damn good and well that if an attorney or a judge or a prosecuting attorney or even a bailiff or a police officer, somebody like that commits a crime, the same exact crime that you did, that nothing's gonna happen. Nothing, dude. They're not gonna prosecute them, even if they got them right on video doing it. They'll make a deal. They'll make sure that person goes to trial in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, so everybody forgets about it. But God forbid, if you do it, oh, Lordy, you are literally at the mercy of the court. And you'd have Mr. Wade would tell you that Mr. Reich has been abandoned by his friends. Wrong. He has not been abandoned by anyone, buddy. Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. Just because you deem as Mr. Reich as your little nobody, well, good for you, pal, because he has not been forgotten. We are very aware of every move that's being made. You sure are. You don't mind, do you? It's absolutely fascinating that there's a lot of lying going on paperwork, isn't it, Mr. Wade? Sure is fascinating. Well, I tell you what, it's a damn good thing old Spoof Card got those recordings, isn't it? It is a good thing. I think they should play those recordings. Now, what is Mr. Carver down in Florida? It won't take nothing to fly his goofy ass up to Connecticut, set him right down in there, and he can participate in this big old judicial sloppiness you got going on because he initiated it. I mean, that's not too much to ask, is it? You can pull up the spoof card recordings and match it up with that affidavit, see if they match up when they're not going to. And then when they don't, and it's deemed that somebody committed perjury, it wouldn't be the audio recording now, would it? No, it wouldn't. What would happen to that authority? Even though he's not an authority anymore and he's retired, what would happen? One of those. Right? Yes, that's right. So here we have Jonathan Jesus. Truly. He is sacrificing himself to try to get to the bottom of all of this nonsense. Obviously. It sure is funny how in, I think it was November of 2016. Let's see if I got this straight. The authorities, here we go again, are called because I think that maybe Jonathan and his family had went out to supper or something like that. He comes back and there's a bunch of ducks in his driveway. So they call the police. They got somebody on video, from what I understand. Haven't seen the video myself. That is in some sort of SUV that is tossing all these little ducks on his driveway. And then suddenly he's arrested. Wow, wow, man, this is outrageous. And you have Wade there, Mr. Sandy Hook Fact Fraud, right? He's got a little duck on his little YouTube channel. All right, just a little cute little ducky there, right? Ha ha. Uh-huh. Wow. Fascinating. Yeah. So, essentially, the way it appears to me is that these higher humans, one of the most corrupt bodies in the entire United States is gonna be Connecticut. Yeah. We've already done the comparison between Mr. Malloy's nephew and own sons against any other creature in the land that had the exact same charge, and it's night and day. Yeah, it's night and day. You got Mr. Reich, again, has a misdemeanor. His bail set $100,000. You got the nephew of the governor of Connecticut that does something, in my opinion, 100 times worse, and his bail is $500. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Okay. You got Mr. Wade making comments like, Monty and them are harassing the governor. What? What? We're harassing them? Really? File charges, buddy. Do something. Come and get some. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you. Come and get some. Do something. I don't know if you ever heard of this thing. It's called freedom of speech. You might want to look it up. It's in the Constitution. You might want. It's number 1. It's the first one there in the United States Constitution. It talks about freedom of speech. I don't know if you ever heard of that before. Yeah, you ever hear about that? Hey, you know what? Wade, maybe you can share that First Amendment over there with Mr. Malloy. Share it with him. Share that with him so he can see it. If you'd like, maybe I could take a picture of it and mail it to him. so he can see it for himself. But you know what? That's not going to matter. It's not going to matter because Mr. Malloy is on camera using his face and his voice talking about his city was made, I'm paraphrasing, his city was warned that this sort of thing may happen in their jurisdiction. And then when he's called out on it by Mr. Halbig, on camera, he denies he said that, even though he's on camera saying it. Sure. You know what the great thing is? This is absolutely great. When you really think about it, when you really think about it, as these higher humans prance around this nation, in every state, in every jurisdiction, thinking that they are above the law. Everybody's above the law. Every single person. There are no laws in the United States. How are there laws in the United States? I was just curious. Oh, you mean because some dude, some guy, wrote down on a piece of paper, because some vote of the legislative branch, and they dictated that, oh, all of you losers down there, all of you nobodies, you gotta abide by our law that we wrote down for you. You talk about those? That doesn't mean diddly squat, buddy. It don't. There's no laws in this nation, dude. Obviously. How do we know this? Because the higher humans keeps breaking them. And they keep getting away with it. The very people that are supposed to make sure that everybody, oh, well, we're here to enforce the law, are the very ones violating it. And there's no consequences towards those people. Setting such a wonderful example. Let me ask everybody a question that feels like answering it. Please leave a comment down below. Video response, I don't care. Do you suppose right before Mr. Hess snapped, do you suppose any of those little pretentious laws stopped him? No, they didn't. Did they stop him? Did they stop him? No, they didn't. See how that works? Do you suppose all of the people that are sitting in prison for doing something like Mr. Hess did, or even worse, I can't imagine anything worse, but let's just say, you suppose all those little pretentious little laws that were written down on a piece of paper somewhere stopped them? No, it didn't. So apparently, as far as I'm concerned, the higher human has proven to all of us that laws mean squat because they keep violating them and nothing happens. In association with the supposed nobodies, disregard the laws themselves and do whatever the hell they want. Right? Which stands to reason your laws don't mean crap. Obviously. From both tiers. Neat, huh? That's very neat. It's very, very neat. Yeah. What do you got to say about that, Mr. Wade? What do you got to say about that, huh? Bet you ain't got nothing to say about that, do you? You sure don't. You don't. You don't. You ain't got nothing to say about it, do you? You sure don't. Because that's reality. It's reality, buddy. That's reality. Yep. When you really think about it deeply, that is reality. So, all of your pompous and your pretentious actions of, we really care. You don't care, buddy. You don't care. You don't care. Huh. You don't care one iota. Because if you cared, you'd be, let's say, trying to tackle all of this in a so much different direction than trying to always get one up on the people that have a brain and can figure out all of this is absolute and utter smoke, mirrors, illusion, and bullshit. It's funny how you skip over all of these supposed authorities that keep making these outrageous mistakes and expect the public to just say, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I get it. I mean, I'm confused, but yeah, okay, I get it. Whereas the people that are awake and have a brain know better. Yeah, because that's the way it works. If somebody has a brain and an education and that thing called common sense, they can look at something and go, no, you're full of it, dude. Knock it off. And the people preaching that nonsense will make sure that they're excused away so they don't have the influence over the naive individuals to set them straight on what's really going on. That's why you and all these other people are on the interwebs always trying to disprove. Excuse me, bud. You have an official report that has supposedly Adam's name, but the wrong date of birth. Yeah. Which throws that entire document right in the garbage. Does it not? Yes or no? You're the judicial guy. Is that right? Yes or no? Yes, that is right. Because when you're dealing with anything judicial, when you go to court, every T has to be crossed. The punctuation has to be perfect. Every word has to be spelled correctly. Everything has to be in order. If it's not in order, it's garbage. Right? Yes, that's right. So get off that big old high chair of yours. You can do it. Come on, Wade. You can do it. So are we ever going to find out what happened? Yeah, probably 70 years from now. Because all of this stuff, oh, I'm sorry, that's national security. We got to tighten that one up. Yeah, let's just put it over here so nobody can find out until 70, 75 years later. Kind of like JFK and that, all the documents, they can be shared later, 50 years from now, when everybody's dead that is affiliated and all that stuff. American people aren't going to do anything because, come on, it's been 50 years, a lot has changed in 50 years. That's why you do it. That's why you put these term limits on information being divulged to the public, is because everybody is not going to care. Because we got other things going on. The advancement of technology has superseded the very era in which the information should have been divulged to the public anyway. But no, we got to do it for your protection because, God forbid, we can't have the American people seeing information that might make them upset. But hell, we can show you all day and all night videotape of Muammar Gaddafi getting his head plastered all over the concrete behind him. We can show you videotape of his sons, Uday and Gouday, getting wasted on the streets in Libya. Oh, God forbid, but we can't share with you the absolute truth of the very things that happen in your own country. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Way to go! Way to go. Yeah. And here's the thing there, buddy. You probably think, you say, oh my God, Monty's about ready to snap. Oh no, I'm not ready to snap. Oh no. When you're a deep thinker, you don't think about snapping, buddy. You think about all of the strategic ways that you can get at your adversary. Legally. Oh yeah. The last thing that you think about is snapping. Because you know all of your adversaries and everybody in between will use the very snappage against you and all of the other people that have the same exact ideology as you do. So what better way to combat the higher human but through strategy? And that thing called the First Amendment. Everybody else that wants to, please chime in. I'm Montagraph, and if you can't speak freely, you're simply not free. Have a good one.